What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all massively helps out this channel, and I really hope you know that. But before we get into today's stories, I just want to thank a couple of new members who joined us yesterday. Ali Rayner and Amanda Holloway, thank you so much for your support, and for everyone for spending 20 minutes or so with the channel and getting involved. You mean the absolute world to me. Thank you so much, and let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, this first story comes from Brilliant Deer 259. Am I the arsehole for leaving my bachelorette party and telling my maid of honor to stop living vicariously through me? I, 27 female, got engaged to my fiance in December 2019, around the same time as my BFF Chelsea, 27 female. We decided that we'd be each other's maid of honor. Chelsea and her ex split up shortly after the engagement because he cheated. My fiance and I started planning a laid-back fall wedding a couple of months ago. I asked Chelsea if she was still up to being maid of honor. She excitedly said yes. A few days later, she sent me a list of dates for a wedding shower at the place hers was originally scheduled at. I told her we weren't planning on a shower because a lot of our friends and family were hit hard by the pandemic. She was upset but let it go. Something similar happened with the dress shopping. She had a list of places ready to go. I told her I wanted my friend, who is a seamstress, to make the dress. She convinced me to go shopping anyway, then ended up trying a lot of the dresses herself. I was wary when she mentioned a bachelorette party, but she presented plans that seemed perfect: a hike, a nice dinner, then a drive-in movie with my dog. I agreed. She picked me up on Saturday, but instead of driving to the park we were supposed to hike in, she took me to a lake house. My heart dropped because I knew she planned a house party. Lo and behold, I walked in and my bridesmaids were there, as well as the woman who I suspect Chelsea would have picked as bridesmaids. There was also a lot of liquor. I don't drink, my mother is an alcoholic, and I want to avoid the same fate. While I don't mind being around people who are drinking, it's uncomfortable and, depending on the situation, triggering. When I walked in, half the people there were already drunk. To make matters worse, Chelsea neglected to tell me until 9 PM that she planned to stay the night. My fiance was out of town and I had no one to watch my dog. Chelsea said he'll probably be okay, it's only one night. Long story short, my future brother-in-law came and picked me up and took me home. I didn't tell Chelsea myself, she was trashed at that point, and asked one of my bridesmaids too. Yesterday I woke up with 20 plus texts and calls from Chelsea and a few others asking where I was and if I was okay. I texted Chelsea back, who told me she was heading to my place to talk. As soon as she walked through the door, she started berating me, telling me she put so much effort into that party and I was so ungrateful. She told me that she wished I were a normal bride. Admittedly, I thought she was coming to apologize and I lost my shit. I told her I'd been walking on eggshells and compromising so I didn't hurt her feelings, but I wouldn't anymore, and that she needed to stop living vicariously through me and planning what she'd want for her own wedding. She called me a bitch and a bad friend and left, and we haven't spoken since. So Reddit, am I the arsehole? Being your best friend that your mother was an alcoholic, she must know that surely. And then to go and do this, knowing that you're non-alcoholic, yeah, that's not really forgivable for me. That's awful. So 100% not the arsehole. You're just gonna not be the arsehole anyway, because you're not wrong for what you said. But I got to say, I still had a little bit of empathy towards Chelsea until that point. And yes, don't get on my back about it. I know, all right. But we'll move to the comments to see what they say. And we'll start with Natasha Nail saying, not the arsehole, I can forgive the dress shopping. That's not that big of a deal and understandable. But the fact that she lied about the bachelorette party is not okay. She knew you didn't drink, yet made that a main focus, and then didn't let you know that she wasn't going to give you a ride home, which would harm your dog and inconvenience your brother-in-law. She's out of line. I'd honestly demote her from a maid of honor. She clearly can't handle it after not getting her own wedding. She needs to take several steps back and stop sabotaging your special events. And Vanda Joy says, not the arsehole, but you definitely should have had a hard conversation with her before the bachelorette party when it reached that boiling point. And Snoo Cookie says, not the arsehole. She took you somewhere without your permission, with no planning around you, the bride, and you had to find your own way home. So brutal. The girl is so selfish, and if she doesn't realise that, you're better off without her. And Coffee Bean says, not the arsehole. It would have been kind of iffy up to the point where she stranded you at the lake house and showed no consideration of your dog. That is uncalled for. And Lawn Orderly says, not the arsehole. Since you're BFF, she has to know how you feel about alcohol. That was a shit move, subbing a party for the agreed on low-key hike. And the dog is not just an afterthought. Might want to rethink the maid of honor. And we'll have one more from Halo Material saying, in retrospect, it probably would have been wise to have dropped the message that you were going just for peace of mind, but nah, you're not the arsehole. Could you have been more tactful and handled it earlier? Sure, but it's easy for an anonymous Reddit person to say that from the outside. Yes, and I love that point of view because I always see that as well. It's your wedding coming up, not hers. Why is she denying what you want for your wedding? She should have made you feel special on your bachelorette party and probably should have known better than to make it a messy booze fest, especially given what you've stated. I hope that she'll come to her senses and apologise, but I find that most people who are confronted with the ugly side of themselves generally don't. And our next story comes from Am I the Arsehole Daughter Selling? Am I the arsehole for saying I don't care about my daughter selling stuff in school? Hi all, my 34 female daughter, Amy 15, has a business at school. She purchases multi-pack items such as snacks, drinks, etc. and sells them individually. She has been doing this for about 2 years and the profits have been pretty good from what she said. I don't mind her doing this personally. It's not illegal like selling drugs or anything like that, and it means she doesn't have to ask me for money. Since she started, she bought herself a lot of new dresses and shoes. However, the school apparently does not support this. She and a few others doing the same thing were caught and were given a week of detentions, with the possibility of suspension if they get caught again. My husband was enraged. He wanted to ground Amy and give her additional punishments. Personally, I couldn't care less. She's found a way to earn money so she can buy what she wants. It's not illegal and her grades are good, so it's obviously not distracting her from school. I've told my husband that I don't want to punish her or stop her from selling. The school are making something out of nothing. He thinks that I'm putting her education at risk by letting her continue. Now I wanted to read this one because this one reminds me of my younger self, but before that I just want to give my verdict, and it will be a you're the arsehole, I'm afraid. You're saying that he thinks I'm putting her education at risk by letting her continue, yet you mentioned earlier that there's the possibility of suspension if she's caught again. So yes, her education is at risk if she gets caught again by doing this, so that would make you the arsehole automatically to me. And as I said, used to do a little something similar when I was a bit younger, and I would call myself the arsehole as well because I don't know about people's allergies and stuff when I was trying to sell little snacks and stuff like that, and I could have been putting potentially people at risk. And you know, if it was done on school grounds and then someone got ill because I sold something on school grounds, I imagine it might be the school that might be liable as well because, you know, I'm doing it on their grounds. In the end, I just think I can't think of the word. It just sets a bad bar, basically, that, you know, your daughter can do whatever she wants and she can have a little business at school. No one else can, though, because mum's allowing her to do that. So I got to say you are the arsehole in this situation. You know, I'm all for people making their own little businesses and stuff like that, making a bit of cash, but there's a right way of going about it, isn't there? But I remember when I was in school and it was Pokemon cards for me. I started off on little snacks, but then I moved on to Pokemon cards, and this is just when Pokemon cards were coming out. And I made a big mistake, guys. I made a big mistake. I don't know if I want to admit it. First gen Charizard card. I sold it for a tenner. Don't at me, guys. Don't at me. I didn't even know about it back then, so don't get on me about it. But I tell you what, I bought a lot of sweets for that £10. I enjoyed it, let me tell you. But Webby Vanderquack says you're the arsehole. I don't think you should punish her further, but if the school have asked her not to do this, you shouldn't be encouraging her to break the rules, especially if suspension is a possible consequence. In quotes, it means she doesn't have to ask me for money. Is that really what this is about? And username too long says, soft you're the arsehole. She found a way to make money, great. However, she is selling it on school property. The school has every right to put an end to that. Your husband, on the other hand, is going overboard with his reaction. This is a situation where a conversation with your daughter might have more effect than a punishment or no reaction from you and your hubby. And Tereshi Slap and Tickle says, you're the arsehole, you're teaching a lesson, and that lesson is, the rules don't apply to me. And Simba says, I'm gonna say you're the arsehole. To be clear, I agree that it's not a big deal. Hell, I did that type of thing for a while myself. But once the school said she can't do it, and you said you won't stop her, I do think you become the arsehole there. Schools may have dumb rules, but all of them aren't worth fighting. I'd argue this is one of them. And also, this likely is illegal. Even if she would almost never likely be arrested or face any serious issues outside of the school, I bet the things she is selling are things that aren't meant to be individually resold. And Sock Puppet Psycho says you're the arsehole. Clearly there isn't a reason to punish her at home. However, you shouldn't be encouraging her to break the school rules. They don't want her doing it, and there is a rather large risk for continuing. And Cassia says you're the arsehole. She's clearly doing something against the rules. It doesn't matter that it isn't illegal and her grades are good. What matters is if she is allowed to do it at school, and she clearly isn't. Or your teacher is okay to do something you shouldn't as long as you don't get caught. Now, what do you guys make of this one? Any of you had a secret little business going on at one stage? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next story. And this next story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for telling my boyfriend it was my sister who stole his stuff from him, despite my parents' disapproval? I, female 25, have been with my boyfriend Adam, male 26, for over a year. He's so wonderful and adores my family and loves visiting them regularly. There was an accident about a week while me and Adam were visiting my parents for dinner. His stuff, his phone, car keys, medication and $200 has gone missing. We looked all over the house but couldn't find the stuff. My 18-year-old sister was in her room the entire time, except for a few minutes to ask what we were looking for. Me and Adam had to go home in an Uber, still feeling shaken up and confused. Adam kept stressing out about his medication, which is the most valuable amongst the other stuff he lost, and had a hard time getting a replacement for it. I went back to my parents the next day to continue looking for Adam's missing stuff and found it in my sister's room, the only place we didn't look. I was dumbfounded. I waited for her to come back from school and confronted her. My mum started making excuses instead of asking my sister why she took Adam's stuff. I shamed her and said I was going to tell Adam and will absolutely support him if he decides to take legal action since the $200 weren't returned. Mum freaked out and begged me to lie to Adam and say I found his stuff in the bathroom cabinet instead of saying my sister stole it, but I refused. My sister broke down crying, saying if I tell Adam I'll ruin a relationship with him, but I believe he needed to know the house he enters isn't safe for him. Mum said she couldn't believe I'm willing to encourage Adam to take legal action and ruin my sister's chance to her college application. My parents said they'd cut me off if this happened, and this was the last time we talked. 2 days ago, Adam told me Mum called saying they found his stuff in the bathroom cabinet and gave it to me, but I was keeping it. I was stunned. Okay, first of all, the stuff is in my possession, yes, but I was waiting on Mum and Dad to pay the $200 so I could have my sister return them to my boyfriend along with the other stuff and apologise, hoping we'd work this out without involving authorities. But Mum went ahead and told the story she made up to Adam. I laid out the facts to him and told him what really happened, that my sister stole his stuff and that despite being ashamed of Mum and sister, I still gave them the opportunity to resolve this peacefully. Then I told him I support him whatever his decision he makes. Adam was in dismay and very upset. He confronted my parents and they kept denying. Mum was furious. She kept crying, saying I failed to do them this one small favour, to tell them a white lie to Adam, but I just ruined the entire family's relationship with him. And anything that comes out of this is my fault, after making them look like liars and my sister like a vicious thief. My whole family are in conflict and are shaming me for exposing my sister and making a fuss over a small mistake. I haven't seen Adam since the day he found out. Neither parties are happy and I'm being blamed and accused of escalating things. Now a little bit of additional information on this one, because there's a lot of everyone sucks here because OP wasn't telling Adam initially straight away about what was going on. And whilst I agree that was the right thing to do, I can slightly see what OP was coming from, wanting them to step up and apologize themselves, making sister apologize and getting his money back at the same time. Obviously, the right thing to do was tell Adam straight away, but I can kind of see it as well. But the additional information from Cast Kipelis said, info, why did you wait 2 whole days to give him back his meds and his phone? And then it was said because first she posted this on relationship advice and it was asking advice on what should I do in this situation. I think it was posted straight after the event, and the advice on relationship advice was to tell Adam immediately. So she ignored this advice and then came to here. So then I think, yes, it would make it in Everyone Sucks Here, because she did ask for advice, she got the advice, but ignored the advice at the same time. So I think that would make it in Everyone Sucks Here for me. But we'll read some of the comments to see what they say, and you can see why everyone's going for this Everyone Sucks Here verdict. So we'll start with Purple Mars Alien, who says, everyone sucks here, almost. I'm going with, you're a slight arsehole because you didn't return the stuff to Adam and tell him what happened the day you found it. Your family is a pile of major arseholes. Your sister needs the consequences which are due to her. Adam is not an arsehole. And Chat on the Danger says, everyone sucks here except Adam. Your family sucks for obvious reasons, but so do you. You should have told him the moment you returned and located his stuff and given him the opportunity to take whatever action he needed to. The truth of it is that you broke his trust by waiting for the money and then hopefully sweeping it under the rug. Your delay and lack of honesty meant that your mother was able to feed him the narrative that painted you in the worst light. Of course he won't trust you again, or at least shouldn't. You're acting just like your entitled family, no matter what your intent was. And Cantaloupe Hot says, info, what sort of lie were they going to tell Adam to make him believe that his phone, cash and medicine walked themselves into the bathroom without human interference? Unless Adam is thick as a plank, he's aware that someone in your family stole from him. Yeah, I was thinking that as well. And Chairmankin93 says, oh man, it's like everyone sucks here. Your sister sucks for being a thief, obviously. Your parents suck for trying to hide it. You suck for not telling him as soon as you found out. And we'll have one more from Scammer C saying, everyone sucks here except Adam. Did you know that you were the scapegoat of the family already, or was that news to you? Because it's pretty obvious who the golden child is. You should have returned the items to him immediately and told him the truth. Imagine how your mother's story would have sounded then. It's good for Adam to know not to go back in that house while your sister is there, and I wouldn't worry about being the cause of your sister getting in trouble with university. I have the feeling she's going to screw that up all by herself. Now, what would you have done in that situation? Would you have told Adam straight away, or would you have done something similar to what OP was suggesting, trying to get the money back first and letting them fess up themselves? I know the right way to do it is to do it immediately, but there's a lot of feelings going involved at the time. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next story. And our next story comes from Decent Chocolate 17. Am I the arsehole for not wanting to return a cat to its rightful owner? Okay, I know this title sounds bad, but please let me tell you both sides of the story, and I hope you decide that I'm not an arse. So, me, male 19, and my family have a cat named Roxo, and he's the love of our family. He's a black cat with white paws and undercoat. He has a peculiar triangle shape in the center of his belly. This will be important later. We found him as a small kitten in July last year, no more than 2 weeks old, in our bushes in the backyard. We thought his mum just left him there and was coming back soon. But then a day passed, still in our backyard. We left some food and water out, careful not to go near him. 2 days pass. We decided to take him to the vet, and as we expected, no microchip. After asking around the neighborhood and a failed attempt to get someone to recognize him, we decided to adopt him. Flash forward to now, a lady from about 9 streets up moved next to us. All was going well. Parent chatter and all that. Until we introduced Roxo to her, and that's when she said, oh, he looks like one of my cat's babies. Unfortunately, she died in a car accident in July last year, a couple of weeks after she gave birth. She joked about a little triangle around his belly. Found the triangle, compared the photos, and yep, he was a cat's child. Okay, what a crazy coincidence, right? Yes, but now she wants to take Roxo. We explained to her how legally he is our cat and how he's accustomed to our living space. Plus, he's only known us. She explained how morally he is her cat. We are not giving up our boy. We've been in a fight for the past few days about it. Am I the arsehole? Edit, there's no way she had an emotional investment. My guess is she just abandoned them. She took pics as a memento and abandoned them. A kitten, especially a 2-week-old, cannot travel 9 blocks. And we're going to start with Wild Possum Lover saying on this one, not the arsehole. She hasn't really missed him all this time. You've had him, paid vet bills, fallen in love with him. She can just get another cat, but now I fear she might try and steal him. And Oil See You Later says, he's not even morally her cat. Kittens aren't difficult to keep in your house, and given the mother cat was hit by a car, I doubt she does keep them in the house. She chose to add to the feral cat population of your neighborhood. You reduced the population. That's your damn cat, not the arsehole. And Counting Pickle says, not the arsehole. If it were a week or so, I could understand. It's been almost a whole year. You fed him, cared for him, paid for his care. He's your cat. And Throwaway Any Mouse says, not the arsehole. He had a no microchip, was a kitten who was abandoned against his will due to its mum dying, has bonded with you and your family, and you've paid for everything when it comes to him. Legally, he's yours, because she didn't even report him missing. Granted, it's possible she thought he died after losing his mother and ended up starving. And Celtic Sky says, not the arsehole, it sucks what happened, but for the last year you and your family have cared for this cat. Vet bills, love and care. To this cat, its home is your home. You and your family is the cat's rightful owner. If Roxo isn't microchipped, get it done ASAP. It's usually not that expensive. Reddit is full of posts from people like you. It's from people just like you that had their pets stolen. In the event your neighbour keeps pushing the issue or goes nuts and tries to steal the cat, you need to be able to prove the cat is yours. Also, I'd suggest keeping the cat indoors at all times for the time being if Roxo likes being outside. And we have one more from Cyan who says, not the arsehole. She didn't even say, did she, how a kitten in her care wound up outside in the bushes at 2 weeks old. If she wanted him, she could have kept him then. You did everything right when you adopted him, and you've had him for years. He's your cat. And where's the cat tax? Now, what do you guys think of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and your verdicts on all of today's stories if you choose to share them. Thank you so much for your love, time and support towards the channel, and I will see you cheeky so-and-so, in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.